This presentation is about giving you a new way to think about your health, specifically what you choose to eat. I will discuss the problem of obesity and how it's connected to the incidence of chronic disease. I will then go over the solution, which is the Eat to Live plan. I will describe how to eat according to this plan and also the reasons why. My goal is to educate you about the effect of your food choices on your health, to inspire you about the possibilities to lose weight and achieve optimum health by making different choices, and to give you an action plan of how to get started in making these changes. First of all, a little bit about me. My name is Santokh Singh Khalsa, and I have been a practicing holistic chiropractor for the past 33 years. What that means is that in addition to adjusting, I work with my practice members to improve their nutrition and diet. I have also been a teacher of Kundalini Yoga for the past 36 years. Many of my yoga students become practice members, and many of my practice members start doing yoga. I have been a vegetarian for 37 years. And finally, the item which really qualifies me to be talking to you is that I have been overweight for the last 28 years in spite of all I know and do. The Eat to Live plan is turning that around for me. What is obesity? To be considered obese, more than 1/3 of a person's body must be made up of fat. It is the #1 health problem in the United States. A whopping 34% of all Americans are obese, and the problem is getting worse, not better. In spite of the $40 billion per year that is spent on weight loss, Americans are the most obese people in history. This is especially discouraging for dieters because after spending so much attempting to lose weight, 95% gain all the weight back and then add on even more pounds within 3 years. I said earlier that obesity was the #1 health problem today. Here are the documented complications of obesity. Shorter lifespan, adult onset type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, degenerative arthritis, heart disease, cancer, sleep apnea, gallstones, liver disease, lung disease, gastrointestinal diseases. Americans eat a diet that is overwhelmingly made up of refined foods. Look at the percentages of these foods that Americans eat. Refined oils, 21% of the diet. Sweeteners, 17%. Wheat flour, which is 95% white, 16%. The top 3 categories of refined foods make up 54% of total calories. Then we have meat, 15%, dairy, 12%, other processed foods, 10%. Fruits and vegetables, excluding potatoes, make up only 5% of the average American diet. White potatoes, 3%, and eggs, 1%. Refined foods are linked to heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, lung cancer, colon cancer, stomach cancer, intestinal cancer, thyroid cancer, and gallbladder disease. At this time, I want you to take a minute and think about what you eat and answer these questions about your diet. What percentage of your diet is made up of fruits and vegetables? What percent is refined carbohydrates? What percent is oils and fats? And what percent is animal products? I have been studying nutrition for over 30 years. I've researched many diets and found some good and bad in all of them. This is the first eating plan, I don't even like to call it a diet, that I feel I can get 100% behind. It was developed by Dr. Joel Fuhrman based on his clinical experience working with real patients. It is a simple plan that is based on cutting-edge research, not on fads or pseudoscience. The core of the Eat to Live plan is a simple formula. Health equals nutrients per calorie. The higher the nutrients per calorie in your diet, the greater the health will be. The higher the calories per nutrient in your diet, the lower the health will be. Dr. Fuhrman calls this concept nutritional density. If you primarily eat foods that have a high density of nutrients per calorie, then you will achieve greater health. By nutrients, he means vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, antioxidants, and fiber. He does not mean protein, fat, and carbohydrate. I will explain why later. The benefits of eating nutritionally dense food are threefold: healthy weight reduction, prevention or reversal of chronic disease, and a new understanding of food and health. Unlike other diets, this plan is a way of eating that you can do for the rest of your life. But to get started, we recommend a 6-week plan. Follow this program precisely for the first 6 weeks. This is the most difficult time. You're changing a lifetime of poor eating habits. You are going through a cleansing and detoxification. You will have significant weight loss and also changes in your physical and emotional well-being, setting up patterns for the rest of your life. Unlike other diets, the Eat to Live plan wants you to eat as much as you can of certain foods. You can't overeat these foods. Vegetables, as a category of food, have the highest levels of nutrients and the lowest number of calories. They are by far the most nutritionally dense foods on the planet. Beans are rich in complex carbohydrates and fiber. The fiber helps prevent blood sugar fluctuations and lowers cholesterol. Beans in general, not just soy, prevents damage to your DNA and has other anti-cancer benefits. Fruit has been shown in numerous studies to offer the strongest protection against all cancers combined. It also prevents aging and deterioration of the brain. High nutrient, low calorie eating results in a longer life and prevention of chronic illnesses. This has been observed in all mammals from rodents to primates. People who consume the most high-fiber foods are the healthiest, as determined by better waist measurements, lower insulin levels, lower cholesterol, and other indicators. Phytochemicals means chemicals from plants. They are the cutting edge of current nutritional research. There are thousands of these naturally occurring substances in plants, and scientists are just beginning to find their connection to overall health. Based on research data from around the world, over 90% of your calories should come from unrefined plant foods. This allows you to decrease your risk of cancer, heart attacks, diabetes, and excess body weight. There are some foods which have moderate nutritional density, which you can eat limited amounts on the 6-week plan. This list contains cooked, starchy vegetables like corn, potatoes, winter squash and yams, whole grains, raw nuts and seeds, avocado, and ground flax seeds. These are wholesome, nutritious foods that have a higher number of calories and are therefore less nutritionally dense. Therefore, they make up 10% of the diet on this plan. Now we come to the foods that are off limits. Animal products, dairy products, refined carbohydrates, refined oils, and between meal snacks. We will discuss this a little later. Why are these foods off limits? Over the last 20 years, the largest nutritional study ever was done in China. The reason that it was so unique was that China is like a living laboratory. In the U.S., we eat the same from Maine to California, but in China, every region has its own unique diet. Also, people in China rarely move to another region. Most people live and eat the same way their entire lives. Finally, the medical statistics for China show a huge difference in the prevalence of different diseases based on the region. Cardiovascular disease is 20 times more common in some areas than others. Specific cancers can be several hundred times more prevalent depending on the region. The results from the China study were very clear. Increased animal products in the diet were directly related to increased cancer, heart disease, strokes, and diabetes. The China study found that animal protein from dairy also elevated the risk to these diseases. But there's another interesting fact about osteoporosis in China and the U.S. There is almost no osteoporosis or bone loss in China, and they average 544 milligrams of calcium daily, primarily from plant sources. Here in the U.S., where osteoporosis is a major health problem, we average 1143 milligrams of calcium daily, primarily from dairy. Clearly, calcium from dairy in our country does not prevent osteoporosis, but less than half of the calcium from plant source in China does. Refined carbohydrates. This list includes white sugar, natural sweeteners like honey and agave, white flour, pasta, and white rice. Clearly, these foods have enormous amounts of calories and few nutrients. It's widely accepted that these empty calories are the main culprit behind the poor health and obesity of so many Americans. Refined oils like olive oil are also very high in calories and low in nutrients. It is very easy for your body to convert oil on your tongue into fat on your waist and hips. Research scientists can take fat biopsies off the hips or waist and tell where it came from: pig fat, dairy fat, chicken fat, or olive oil. When you extract the oil from the whole food, you remove it from its antioxidant and phytochemical-rich protective environment. You turn a moderate nutrient per calorie food into a low nutrient per calorie food. You hear a lot about the health benefits of the Mediterranean diet, especially good things about olive oil. But even proponents of this diet insist that it is not for overweight people. In the Eat to Live plan, you get plenty of high-quality fats in nuts, seeds, beans, and vegetables.